How's it going, everybody? This is Radishhead, and welcome back to another episode of Upland Analysis. I appreciate it has been a few days, probably about a week since I last spoke to you all. I was hoping to get a video out earlier this week, or maybe even last week, but I've just caught a really bad cold, and yeah, you can probably still hear it in my voice a little bit. It's a little bit nasally, but this is the first day since the new year, or even before the new year, that I felt well enough to make a video. But yeah, it looks like I've made it back just in time for the Berkeley Alameda expansion collection reveal, which just happened today, and I think it's fair to say that it was a fair bit different to what I and a lot of other people were expecting. So first of all, seems like a good opportunity just to run through what actually were the collections in Berkeley and Alameda. So we didn't get many, and I guess that's one of the first points. I know when they announced it as 2 collection expansion cities, and they said there'll be 4 to 7 collections as part of this, and people weren't sure if that was 4 to 7 for each city or for both combined. I thought it was for both combined. That turns out that is true. Well, that does mean there was a lot of like sure thing collections that people were speculating on that didn't make it, just because, well, there's 5 collections here split between 2 cities. Like, you're always going to have disappointed people when there's 3 in Berkeley and 2 in Alameda. It's just, yeah, pretty wild. So that's the first point, really. So let's just sort of go through them step by step and think about what Upland was trying to achieve with these collections, and what we can learn. So West End own 3 properties in the West End neighbourhood. I actually think that might be a typo. I think it's actually 2 properties in the West End neighbourhood, because I just grabbed this. And it is a large area, so I didn't see that nobody thought this was going to be a collection. And I believe it's the only Alameda neighbourhood collection. So no marina, no Gold Coast, just West End. So this was very clearly more of a strategic decision than anything else. It's for to help out the new players. I'm sure about it. Like not all of it was minted by the time the collection reveals came out, so there was opportunity for people to walk around and grab some collection properties after the reveal. So I kind of get it. A little bit disappointing that was one of the 5 collection slots for the expansion, but yeah, that was one of them. What else do we have? South Berkeley owned 3 properties in the South Berkeley neighbourhood. This one was a limited collection, and again, this seemed more strategic than for hype purposes or anything else. I have heard that South Berkeley is a pretty hip part of the city. There's a lot of coffee shops and theatres and things for people to do in South Berkeley, but there's nothing which really makes it stand out, especially among like many of the other neighborhoods. Like, it's one of the better areas, but it could have been any number of neighborhoods, and by including this, it has meant that we've missed out on some really iconic ones like Ocean View, Poets Corner, Thousand Oaks. Again, because this was an expansion release, we didn't actually get that many collections as part of this release. It's meant that some of these other ones have been kind of left out. Downtown Berkeley, people were investing a lot of UPIX in there, and that didn't make it, sadly. But South Berkeley, congratulations to the people who did get in there. And interestingly, South Berkeley and West End were 2 of the cheapest places to mint. And in fact, if you were a new player coming into Upland in the last week or so, you probably would have been minting in South Berkeley, because until recently, that was like the cheapest unminted neighbourhood in the whole game. So, yeah, I almost guarantee that was a reasoning behind Upland's decisions. They released the Oakland expansions because they had lots of new players coming in. They didn't have anywhere to mint. And you know what? The places where they'll be minting first are, of course, the cheapest. And what's happened? The cheapest places are the ones which got 2 of the collections. So that's not a coincidence. That's pretty smart on Upland's part. By giving these, look at all these FSA properties, by giving all of these new players, with all these FSAs, limited collection, it's given them more of a stake in the game. They'll be able to sell that to more experienced players for, maybe 40,000 UPIX, and they'll be able to mint more properties in future cities. So I think that's actually quite good. I know there's a lot of people who have been criticising Upland for the decisions they've made about which which neighborhoods got in, which didn't. But I get why they did that, and I can't hate on it too much, because we do want to encourage the new players to have a stake in the game. So there you go. And the third neighborhood is the one which sort of makes the most sense, I guess. The University of California, Berkeley. People were saying, surely it's either going to be University Avenue, University Drive, which was this bit of the campus which is like on this big green patch here, or the entire neighborhood of California, Berkeley. It had to be one of those 3, because the university is just so, like, it's the thing which everybody knows Berkeley for. So of the 3, they picked the university neighborhood, which I think, fair enough. I was quite lucky. I managed to grab some stuff there during the minting period. I was actually trying to go for Telegraph Avenue, but my Explorer was actually just crossing over from the campus. And I don't know if you guys remember, but when the expansion cities launched, they actually launched about 10 minutes earlier than planned. And because of that, the trail end of my Block Explorer was still in the university campus, so I actually grabbed some of these. I wasn't even planning on getting them, so that was a bit of luck on my part. That's probably going to be a fairly valuable collection going forward, I think, 'cause there really isn't that many properties within this neighbourhood. It seems to be pretty well locked down, so fair play to Upland for that one. And then we got 2 street collections. We got Gibbs Drive, which is in Alameda. Just pulled it up here. It is it's a very nice street. It's not one which I don't think I saw anybody speculate on, although after the collection reveals came out, I saw a couple of people celebrating. I did grab something there, so well done to them. It is kind of it's just coming off this high street look. So maybe somebody with a bit of knowledge of the area might have known that Gibbs Drive was quite a nice place to be. It's not something I would have picked as my number 1 speculation choice, as proven by the fact that it wasn't in my speculation video. But going on the street view, I've got to say, the architecture is really nice, and there's something really weird about these trees. I don't know if you guys can see this on your screen, but Gibbs Drive is kind of lined with these really, like, knobbly trees. Like, I've never seen anything like it. I don't know if it's just because it's like winter when this was taken, but it just looks very odd. And yeah, the houses are just really quite impressive. So I guess that's why it was picked, but fair enough. And then finally, the street collection, Solano Avenue, which is in Berkeley. And again, this, when I was saying in the prediction video, I was going for 4th Street, because I was saying that's where people like to eat, shop, do business, whatever. Upland loves that stuff. Well, it turns out that I was almost right. They did pick a street where people like to eat, drink, buy things, whatever, except it was Solano Avenue rather than 4th Street. And it also just so happens to be, when I was saying about Thousand Oaks being the most expensive neighbourhood by far, I believe Solano Avenue might be the nicest street in Thousand Oaks. It's like, I can't believe I missed this. Look at this. Look at all these marked restaurants: Kyoto, Organic Greens, Akemi, Vanessa's Bistro, Kirin, Bop Top, Troy. It's all on the same street. Man, I should have seen that. Like, yeah. it aligns so well with my predictions, and it keeps going. Solano Junction, the Thai kitchen, it mashes perfectly with the two things that I was trying to call out: the exclusive part of town bit, which is Thousand Oaks, and the where people like to eat and shop bit. Mash them together, you got Solano Avenue. So that one, I completely get it. So I didn't call that as a street, but I completely get it. So that is the collections. Now let's talk about some more learnings. So as I said, first of all, not too many collections, quite a few disappointed people, and I think that's something we can probably expect for future expansion releases. It wasn't advertised as a full city release, it was advertised as an expansion, and we should probably moderate our expectations accordingly. It seems like there are more strategic type collections than the ones you would traditionally get with a full city release. Another thing which I think is really important to call out is that none of the existing street collections that were contained in Oakland were expanded into Alameda/Berkeley. There was a couple in Berkeley which would have fallen under this criteria. There was College Avenue and there was Telegraph Avenue, are the main ones which I can think of. Telegraph Avenue is just as important to Berkeley as it is to Oakland. So the fact that Telegraph Avenue wasn't extended into Berkeley, to me, makes me think that that will never happen. I hate to say never, but in the future, I'm never going to predict that a street collection continues into a new expansion area. Because Telegraph Avenue would have fit so well that Uplands, I think, has made a conscious decision not to do that. Presumably because it might devalue the existing collections for those who already owned it in Oakland. So yeah, in the future, I'm not going to be predicting city. In the future, I'm not going to be predicting street collection extensions like the one in Telegraph Avenue. A third interesting call out is actually this thing, which I'm going to call the interesting location. There you go. Here are interesting locations to scoop up. Some people were using this as an absolute Bible. They were saying, wow, Upland have told us what's going to be a collection. There were people who were saying this. Here you go, Marina. The Shattuck Avenue, people were mad for Shattuck Avenue because it was on this interesting locations chart. Telegraph Avenue, University of Berkeley, fair enough, we did get that one. And then, what have we got on here? Central Avenue, the Pinball Museum, the Alameda Theatre, downtown Alameda. I mean, to be fair, I think that Gibbons Street is sort of in downtown Alameda. Shoreline Drive, lots of things were pointed out. Very few of them actually became collections. Yeah, just expect that precedent to continue. I think Upland want to provide a really general overview of, some of the famous areas of a city, not necessarily anything to do with collections. And they do specifically say right at the bottom, these are not indicative of current or future collections for either city. But yeah, people are taking it as gospel. So, but now we know. So don't take that too seriously. It's just a fun little overview of the city, just for people who don't know anything about it. Yeah. Finally, let's do a little bit of analysis on the post-reveal prices. I think this is quite interesting because this is only the second city expansion that we've had after the Fresno Clovis expansion, and something which is fairly well known among the player base is that the Fresno and Clovis sides of the city, they've got their own unique collections. There's collections entirely contained within each one. The two halves of two cities are together, and the collection values and the city values are pretty much identical. They're basically treated as the same city by the player base. Now, might be a bit too early to say, but I have a pretty good feeling that that is going to happen with Berkeley, Oakland, and Alameda. The mint prices were quite different in the three cities, but I do just feel that over time these three are going to kind of merge, and I think that kind of suggests that Berkeley collections might be a little bit underpriced right now, especially the purple ones. Just as a really quick little bit of analysis, if I go into the Oakland side, look, already you can barely tell where Oakland begins and but Berkeley ends. So Shafter and Temescal, they're both purple collections in Oakland, right? Fairly well established city. Let's just zoom in and see what people are paying. And here we go, $68, 75,000 UPIC, 78, 85, 90. It's about 85, 90k for a purple collection. And that's in Temescal, that's in Shafter, just across the whole lot. That's just what an Oakland purple collection is worth. Now, Berkeley is kind of considered Oakland, but more. It's just more Oakland. Here's a purple Berkeley collection, South Berkeley. What are we seeing here? 39, 40, jumps up to 45, but yeah, about 40k. Even at 45, I think it's undervalued. I think we could, realistically in the medium term see slowly that converge closer and closer with the Oakland collection prices. Don't be surprised to see, South Berkeley maybe hitting 70k. That's just my thoughts on that. And similarly, Piedmont, it reminds me quite a lot of the West End collection in Alameda. They're both very large neighborhoods. They're both standard collections. I think the mint prices in Piedmont are higher, but let's just see what people are selling stuff for in Piedmont. 48, 49, 50. Okay, we'd expect West Ends to be a little bit more expensive because there's actually a lot fewer properties there. Admittedly, you only need 2 to complete the collection. But yeah, nowhere near as many properties as Piedmont. So let's see what people are selling these for. So about $30, 30,000, 31,000. So again, I think West End compared to Piedmont is just at a broad look undervalued. I think the purple collections in Berkeley are undervalued compared to the similar ones in Oakland. And over time, I genuinely think that these are all going to kind of merge together. They're in a fantastic location. San Francisco is absolutely booming, which is something I will definitely be covering in a video soon. It's very exciting. Just what's going on just across the bridge here, and yeah, so that's kind of my my little bit of analysis there. So if Oakland acts in a similar way to what you've already seen in Fresno, I think buying in these Berkeley Alameda collections probably a pretty good idea. But that is all of the analysis I've got for you today, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd love it if you gave me a subscribe on the channel and a like on the video, because it really, really does help me out. But until next time, I'll see you in the next one.